He's the country master, not just a singer. George Strait has sang some of the best country tunes for almost 4 decades. His tunes, from Amarillo by Dawn to Check Yes or No, have moved millions. However, something unexpected has happened. Recent news crushed many fans' hearts, bewildered them, and shocked them. George Strait has long been known for his serenity. He never sought fame or trouble. However, his recent announcement has gone viral online. Everyone is talking about it, but no one has answers. What may happen to an invincible man? How could someone so powerful and unflappable be instrumental in something so destructive? Early childhood, work. George Harvey Strait Sr. was born in Small Poteet, Texas, on May 18, 1952. Pearsall, Fryotte County, where he grew up, was modest and traditional. His father, John Byron Strait Sr., taught junior high math, but they spent weekends on their 2,000-acre cattle ranch outside Big Wells, Texas. The land shaped George's childhood. He learned hard work while helping on the ranch as a child. Life wasn't always easy. His parents split while George was in 4th grade. His sister Pensy departed with his mother. Their father reared George and his older brother, John Buddy Jr. The three snuggled and saved the family, both at school and ranch. Early in his teens, George began playing music. He played with the Pearsall High School Stoics, a garage rock and roll band. The British invasion captivated George, like most 60s youths. He loved the Beatles and other rock bands. George said the Beatles were big. I listened to them and the other popular groups a lot. Even though rock music first interested him, George found his calling in country music. His preference evolved. His country music influences included Hank Thompson, Lefty Frizzle, Merle Haggard, George Jones, and Hank Williams. He also liked Bob Wills and Frank Sinatra's soft vocals. Despite popular belief, George did not grow up listening to country music. Newscasts and farmer updates are his preference. He knew country music from live concerts, not the radio. George attended most Texas town country music concerts. That began on Texas country roads between school and ranch work, and evenings at local music venues. Nobody knew that this soft-spoken, hard-working Pearsall child would become king. George Strait was remarkable from the start. Private life of George Strait. Like his profession, George Strait's personal life has been full of drama and sorrow. He and his high school love Norma wanted a spectacular church wedding, so they sneaked into Mexico in December 1971 and married. Jennifer, their first child, was born in October, and George Harvey Strait Jr., known as Bubba, was born in 1981. In 1986, catastrophe struck. Jennifer, 13, died in an automobile accident outside San Marcos on June 25th. It devastated the Strait family and changed George's views on privacy and popularity. They created the Jennifer Lynn Strait Foundation to privately donate to San Antonio children's charities in memory of their daughter. Bubba graduated from Texas 8A&M and became a professional team roper to follow his dad's cowboy lifestyle. At the 2006 Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo, George caught Bubba in action and ran backstage to perform a sold-out show. John Byron, Buddy Strait, George's older brother, died at 58 in 2009. Throughout, George relied on faith, family, and his ranch-bred work ethic. His longtime affiliation with Wrangler shows that loyalty. He became a spokesperson for the Wrangler National Patriot Program in 2010, which raises money and awareness for wounded and fallen U.S. military and their families. I couldn't refuse when they offered to support our veterans, he said. He appears on Tractor Supply advertising, another nod to his rural roots. Strait genealogy grows. George Harvey Strait III, born in February 2012 to Bubba and Tamara, became Grandpa George, the king of country. Roping is still loved. From 1983 to 2017, George Strait hosted the Team Roping Classic in Kingsville and then at the San Antonio Rose Palace. Top ropers competed for bragging rights and big prizes. George is flying his San Antonio-based Gulfstream G450 N518GS away from a horse. That jet took him and Texas Governor Greg Abbott throughout the state to lead Hurricane Harvey relief efforts for coastal cities. Philanthropy keeps him active in the hills. George and lifelong friend Tom Cusick organized the Vaqueros Del Mar Invitational Golf Tournament and concert at Tapatio Springs Resort, west of Bourne. Since 2012, David Faraday's Troops First Foundation has received nearly $5 million from the event to benefit injured troops and their families. The Texas Legislative Conference named Strait 2018 Texan of the Year for his achievements. With personal tragedy, rodeo thrill, and endless generosity, George Strait illustrates that cowboy ethics, faithfulness, perseverance, and magnanimity go beyond #1 records, hoax stalking, and sexual harassment claim. Facebook spread an odd and unsettling story in 2018. Someone wrote that Emmylou Hayes accused George Strait of stalking and harassing her. The tweet quickly went viral, worrying admirers because George Strait is usually quiet. This story was false. Snopes extensively investigated the claim. They searched for evidence that the woman existed or that George Strait was involved. Snopes found no proof of the woman or the accusations after a comprehensive examination. It turned out to be a complete lie. No one reported or sued George Strait for this, and no trustworthy source confirmed the rumor. Someone made up and posted the narrative online. Due to harassment and stalking claims, these false stories damage reputations. A bogus story about George Strait, who has a spotless record, showed how quickly information spreads on social media. Most fans supported him because of his character and respect for others. This occurrence was discredited. Thus, it was proven wrong. It teaches why one should verify facts before believing or sharing online stories, especially those that would harm someone's reputation. Did George Strait call Beyoncé's project trash? A few years ago, Facebook memes claimed George Strait called Beyoncé's Cowboy Carter project crap. Fans of both singers were shocked and disappointed. Beyoncé is a global superstar, and George Strait is a country music legend. The idea that Strait would publicly attack Beyoncé so harshly caught traction. However, it was false. Saving Country Music, known for fact-checking country music news, investigated the quote's source. The entire account started as a parody Facebook page. It was a parody or satire, not an interview or statement. No interview, audio, or trustworthy source has shown George Strait criticizing Beyoncé or her work. Strait has never mentioned Beyoncé publicly. Fake and deceptive meme. This disinformation spreads swiftly online, especially when two major music stars are involved. Fans often react aggressively without verifying their readings, causing drama and uncertainty. It's unlikely George Strait would say that about another musician, given his career is built on respect and expertise. It's important not to trust or distribute viral posts without verifying them. To clarify, George Strait never called Beyoncé's album trash. That's nonsense, and both artists deserve appreciation for their work in their genres. The Trump-trained gesture scandal. At a 2024 George Strait Stadium event, a scene caught fans' attention and sparked social media debate. Strait, while singing, made a quick arm-pumping dance move that some assumed was an homage to ex-President Donald Trump, known as the Trump train gesture by his supporters. This gesture was controversial because George Strait rarely discusses politics on stage or in public. Taste of Country relayed the news and fans' feelings on the gesture. Some saw it as a political statement, while others saw it as Strait's usual stage presence and nothing more. The incident was kept quiet by George Strait. He never denied or confirmed the dance move's political intent and never provided official political support. So his support for Trump was mostly guesswork. Supporters and viewers often consider celebrities' little gestures or incidents as political, especially in this highly political era. Without clear statements or acts from the topic, these attempts are guesswork. George Strait's career has focused on music and shows, not politics. This situation didn't change that. His arm pumping was likely part of his stage performance, not a political statement. Some supporters felt George Strait was shouting out pro-Trump, but there's no proof. It's intriguing speculation, not reality. Music Row murder, controversy. George Strait and Alan Jackson sang Larry Cordell and Larry Shell's raunchy murder on Music Row at the CMA Awards. For embracing pop polish and rejecting traditional tones, Nashville's major labels were accused of murdering country music and leaving it in the street. Jackson and Strait recorded the duet for Strait's 2000 Greatest Hits album, Latest, Greatest, Straightest Hits. The song reached the country charts despite never being issued as a single due to radio play. The song split country music quickly. Traditionalists praised Strait and Jackson for bravely preserving fiddle and steel country in a time of slick production and crossover rhythms. But younger artists and business workers felt targeted. Some commentators called the performance disrespectful, claiming genres vary and blending country and pop is fine. Saving Country Music wrote in 2023 that the duet united fans who believed Nashville was leaving them behind with pop. In the streaming age, the case remains strong. Music writers revived the furore in 2024 retrospectives for the song's 25th anniversary. As country singers work with rappers, EDM performers, and TikTok personalities, several remarked how the same reasons apply. Social media followers still mention Murder on Music Row when they think modern country has lost its twang and narrative. Although Strait and Jackson have not apologized for the song, they say they love classic country. The duet highlighted industry strife. Experimental artists are in one corner. In another, purists worried about losing country's roots. Tug of War became a public anthem after Murder on Music Row. Over 20 years later, its song is the soundtrack for old school versus new school debates. Debate regarding George not writing songs. George Strait has long been criticized for not writing most of his songs. Over the years, fans and music reviewers have said this makes them question his authenticity. After all, current music, especially country and pop, emphasizes songwriters. Saving Country Music revisited this debate in 2023. One complaint is that Strait relies too much on other songwriters, lowering his reputation. They wonder if someone singing stories they didn't tell is an honest storyteller. However, Strait's many defenders disagree. They say it's how the song is presented, not who composed it. Strait has an unforgettable voice and a quiet, strong musical storytelling style. His song selection and performance are skills. Like Frank Sinatra, who wrote few of his songs but was one of the finest entertainers, fans compare him to him. Strait has never complained about criticism many times. He believes it's always been about choosing the perfect song with the right message and presenting it in a way that connects. His formula has worked with almost 60 #1 songs. Yes, George Strait doesn't write most of his songs. Maybe that's never been the point. The song's emotional impact is what matters, and Strait's LP does that. The 2024 CMA Awards Viral Face. A quick George Strait clip at the 2024 CMA Awards caused more buzz than expected. Cameras switched to Strait sitting peacefully in the crowd during a high-energy country rap mashup. He stared straight ahead, no smile or applause. That video went viral in minutes. Social media users spread conspiracies. Strait appeared appalled by the conduct, according to many, reflecting what actual country fans felt. Soon after, memes depicted it as typical country disdain of the genre-blending sound. Yahoo! Entertainment gathered the comments, with some fans calling it a protest that didn't shout louder than words, and others calling him tired or lost in thought. Strait never addressed it, therefore no one knows the truth. He didn't address the rumors. As usual, he kept silent and let the web celebrate. The episode became a cultural icon quickly. Some saw it as a humorous take on the ongoing conflict between traditional and new country music. It was overdone for others. Silence doesn't necessarily mean hate. It could be that you're bored or watching something else. George Strait's poker face went viral, but its meaning is unclear. It shows how quickly a face expression can become an internet story, especially with a country icon. Fans felt snubbed when George Strait bypassed Texas. Fans were initially excited when George Strait announced more 2025 stadium tour dates. After the list was released, one thing stood out. Texas had no concerts. That may not bother most artists. It raised eyebrows for country music royalty and Texan George Strait. Texas fans were vocal. Social media erupted with complaints, confusion, and dismay. How could he tour the country and overlook his own state, where he earned his fame and has his biggest fan base? Local media joined. My San Antonio called it a snub, echoing many Texans. For a state that has traditionally defined Strait's music and identity, the absence was felt personally. Most expected one or two big events in San Antonio, Houston, or Dallas. Strait has sold out stadiums in Texas for decades, including the largest indoor concert in the U.S. at Etan-DT Stadium, which he knows well. There was no explanation for Texas's exclusion, adding to the bewilderment. Some hoped a Texas show would be announced later. Others thought it was a scheduling issue. Some joked that George was holding Texas for something major, but without proof, impatience lingered. It wasn't a controversy, but it resonated. Most Texas fans consider Strait's music state pride. So skipping Texas on such a massive tour seemed like missing the family reunion. This decision, whether temporary or permanent, generated a stir. Reminded everyone how much Texans love George Strait. George Strait's private jet raises environmental worries. George Strait is not known for his public life, but his private plane has drawn attention. Strait's Gulfstream G450 plane emitted 423 tons of CO2 in 2022, according to Climate Jets. That's more carbon pollution than 27 normal Americans produce in a year. This news went viral, especially among eco-friendly supporters. Yahoo! News on celebrity net worth and lifestyle also covered the subject, highlighting Strait's tour's carbon footprint. George Strait has not addressed this criticism. Like most celebrities with long careers and global prominence, celebrities often fly privately for comfort, solitude, and scheduling. In an age of climate change, the ecological cost of these high-end lifestyles is becoming harder to ignore. Some advocates of Strait argued that many touring acts fly private jets to meet rigorous schedules and be safe. Others were disappointed that celebrities must reduce emissions or pay for carbon offsets. No modifications to Strait's travel patterns have been noted despite complaints. It is a minor voice in celebrity travel and global responsibility. The Jet Emissions Report reminded us that even country stars like George Strait may be criticized, especially for their global influence. In a recent concert, country music star George Strait took a seat, shocking fans. The 72-year-old is touring with Chris Stapleton. Strange things happened during his first Philadelphia gig. George was uncomfortable and sat down during the concert. A TikTok user captioned a concert video. George said his back hurt and he won't dance. Fans were alarmed, even if George expressed it in a light-hearted way. "I hope your back is okay, George." The comments section was full of wishes for a rapid recovery. Even though George hasn't performed as often in recent years, his shows are always big. His passion for every song is what people love. George's passion for performing is evident. After his recent back injury event, many question how long he'll tour. George didn't elude them. His heartfelt performance at the same concert introduced him to the crowd. "Probably 5 years to sing my songs to you," he said. "But it's been 50 years, and I still love it." His next statement touched folks. "I don't touch the earth till I get on the bus, after seeing your smiling faces through those curtains. I don't know how long I can continue. I calculate several." Fans were moved by that heartfelt moment. It showed that George Strait is human and can get sick and old, even if he seems invincible. However, one thing is certain. George Strait has never lost his love for people and music. We wish him all the rest and care he needs to keep doing what he loves, because artists like him come once in a lifetime and we're not ready to say goodbye. Awards and awards. George Strait's record and honors list is absolutely amazing, yet every headline is true. Trace the highlights in simple terminology. Numbers first. Strait has the most #1 country albums and singles, and the most gold, platinum, and multi-platinum awards. Stretch beyond genres, and he ranks 11th on all genre top albums. Only the Beatles and Elvis Presley have more gold and platinum certifications. Strait is the 12th best-selling artist in U.S. history, with 70 million records sold. That's amazing longevity. Finally, chart success. Strait holds the record for most #1 hits on all Billboard charts with 60 since 2013. Even more astounding, he is the first musician in any genre to have a top 10 hit every year for 30 years. Only a few top 10s separate him from Eddie Arnold's 92. He produces trophies alone. Strait is the only musician to win the CMA Entertainer of the Year award in 3 decades, winning in 1989, 1990, and 2013. He leads CMA nominations overall and consecutively. He matches those victories and nominations at the ACM's Academy of Country Music. Strait was inducted into the Country Music Hall of Fame in 2006, an award usually reserved for older artists. He was only the second performer, after Eddie Arnold, to get the trophy while still scoring singles. 4 years later, Billboard calculated and named him the top country performer of the past 25 years. In 2008, the ACM named him Artist of the Decade for the 2000s, a title previously bestowed to Loretta Lynn, Alabama, and Garth Brooks. Strait's 2013 Entertainer of the Year win set another record. He won as the oldest artist. His 23-year gap between awards is the longest. The Most Male Vocalist of the Year prize is shared with Merle Haggard. In 2013, 70,000 people packed San Antonio's Alamo Dome for the midway conclusion of his 2-year farewell tour, one of his most memorable performances. Even the governor came. Forever, Rick Perry declared May 18th George Strait Day in Texas. Add sales, chart records, honors, and sold-out concerts, and you see why many call him the King of Country.